I think in the near future, I think almost every phone is going to come with a crypto wallet. Just imagine your regular wallet that holds cash and coins or credit cards and debit cards. Not your keys. They like to say, not your keys, not your crypto, not your keys, not your coins. So especially
Welcome back to the CryptoNoobz podcast, where we break down cryptocurrency and the technology around it for beginners. I'm your host, Nelson Ricardo.x, and I'm joined with my co-host.
Lamont Astwood, aka Crypto Lambo.
And on this episode, we're going to be breaking down what are crypto wallets and why you need one. So, Lambo, what is a crypto wallet and how would you explain it to a beginner?
Just imagine your regular wallet that holds cash and coins or credit cards and debit cards. Just imagine that in a digital format. It's you could say, I don't want to say like a code or like a software where you could actually store your cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, and you could store them until they're ready for use. Most of them have they're somewhat secure. Depends on the type you use, whether that be hot wallets, cold wallets. They have different levels of security. But I just want you to think of it as a digital wallet. So whenever you're talking about crypto wallet, just how your wallet holds your cash and your finances and stuff, that's essentially what a crypto wallet does. It holds your cryptocurrencies.
So basically, a crypto wallet is just a wallet. The same way how you would have a wallet to hold your money, you would actually have a wallet to hold your cryptocurrency.
Definitely.
So on that point, right, one of the things that I understand is that with a crypto wallet, allowing you to hold your own money or what's not, you essentially become something like a bank. And there's this popular saying, say, not your keys, not your crypto. But what does that really mean for the everyday user?
Not your keys. They like to say, not your keys, not your crypto, not your keys, not your coins. Usually, whenever you use like a exchange, like a cryptocurrency exchange, like Binance, Kraken, KuCoin, Coinbase, they usually hold the private keys on their network, right? So technically, in a technical sense, they own your money. It's almost like if you put your money in a bank and you look at your bank balance, sometimes people, they like to say that's really just a digital representation of how much money you're supposed to have in your bank balance. But the bank really is the one who's lending out your money, and they're using your money while you have it there. So when people say not your keys, not your coins, that's essentially why they say that. And this is mainly in the sense of custodial wallets. Custodial wallets is essentially when a third party or an exchange has control of your wallet. They have control of your funds. And a non-custodial wallet would be where you more so have the control. So you will have control over your private keys. So you have certain exchanges, like you have MetaMask and Trust Wallet, where you will hold all your crypto within that, and you will have access to your private keys. So you will have a little bit more autonomy, and you will have a little bit more safety, if you will. You take it out when you take it out of the exchanges, and you put it within a non-custodial wallet. So if you want to own your private keys, that's the way to go non-custodial. But people will use a custodial wallet like when they want to trade on exchanges. So there is like a trade-off between security and convenience, really, with that.
So it's basically, so the same way how you talked about the custodial and the non-custodial wallet. So basically, I have an option of where I could keep my crypto on an exchange. And when I have my crypto on an exchange, it is being controlled by the exchange, but the exchange would act something like a bank in this case. And then we also have the custodial wallet where I essentially become my own bank. So one of the things that I want to understand is like, so what is the benefit of keeping it in your own possession, Because at least with a bank, the bank make money from our money. We all understand this. The bank, but we actually keep our money inside a bank. They would take our money and invest our money inside of different things that they're doing. These are all the things that are going on behind the scenes, and where that nifty 1%, that 1% interest to your savings come from.
Yeah, you will literally burn that 1% what you're gonna make. that's going to be your gas to get to the bank to withdraw the ATM. That's what that is. That's your gas. Whenever you make, that's going to be the gas money you spend to get to the bank.
Yeah. So one of the things, like I would want to understand. So what are some of the benefits of me controlling my money in crypto rather than having it on an exchange? If you could help me to understand that.
That's a really good question. Really, the main advantage of it, I'm going to be honest, is just enhanced security and freedom. Enhanced security and freedom. And like we just mentioned earlier, not your keys, not your crypto. When you put it on a non-custodial wallet, that's actually yours now. You have full control over that. So you will have more security. So if there's a hack on the exchange, and exchanges do get hacked, you can be rest assured that your crypto is safe because you took it off the exchange. So especially like when you have people who are dealing with significant amounts of cryptocurrencies, that's a good way for them to actually shield and protect themselves from potential hacks, and also restrictions on withdrawals. So when you have exchanges, right, cryptocurrency exchanges, sometimes like there's a lot of like selling pressure going on, or a lot of like increased volatility in coins. You might see them put stipulations on withdrawals. So if you're like, okay, I want to get my money off of this platform, you might see where they might actually limit your ability to take off, either withdraw totally, or they might put a limit on how much you can withdraw. And especially like with use cases like with companies and crypto exchanges like FTX, when they went up, when things went left over there, you saw no one was able to withdraw. Barely anyone was able to withdraw really. And that created like a frenzy. So if you were to keep your cryptocurrency or a non-custodial wallet, you would have been sitting back, looking pretty like, okay, my money is safe. My money is good. I don't have to worry about what's going on in FTX or Binance or KuCoin or Coinbase. So that's the main advantage, just enhanced security and freedom.
When you talk about the enhanced security and freedom part, it reminds me of this one example that I remember this speaker spoke about. And what the speaker would have talked about is how this is the first time in life that you could travel anywhere and you would actually have access to your money. Because at least with crypto, especially if you have your money on a different wallet or what's not, once you actually have your keys or your passwords to your wallet, you could always have access to your crypto as long as you have your keys to your crypto. So now, say that you was to lose it all inside of, God forbid, a house fire or something like that. Like basically the worst case scenario happened and you've lost all of your stuff, right? Once you actually have the ability to access whatever device or whatever whatever wallet that you had access to, and you just plug in your keys, you would have access to your crypto since it's on the blockchain. And I think that is such an incredible thing. Like now we could travel anywhere and we could still have our access. Even if the worst case scenario was to happen, we still have our access. And it brings a lot of power back to the people. So one of the next things you would have talked about something called a hot wallet and then a cold wallet. So could you walk us through what is a hot and a cold wallet?
All right. So with a hot and cold wallet, I'm going to explain this like I'm talking to a grandmother or a child, right? So they can understand it. A hot wallet is basically like, think of it as like your bank account in a way, or like the money you keep in online banking, right? That's in the bank, you could connect online and look at it, right? Whereas a cold wallet is usually a wallet that you store crypto offline. So that's the money where you could say, okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take $1,000 out of the bank. I'm going to go to my safe that I keep in my house, my heavy duty safe, and I'm just going to put this $1,000 inside there. That's essentially that's one of the best analogies I give as far as like a difference between a hot wallet and cold wallet. Hot wallet is when you store your cryptocurrency online and it's connected to the internet. so you can make transactions online. Cold wallet is when you have either like a ledger or something, and you could more so keep it offline. You keep it away. It's not able to get hacked because it's offline essentially. That's, I mean, not to say if someone can't physically hack it if they get access to it, but I mean, like, you know, it isn't like someone can just hack it from halfway across the world. So that's the real difference between hot wallet and cold wallet.
When would I want to use, at least help us to understand, what scenario would I want to use a hot wallet versus a cold wallet? Like, as soon as I make my first $100 in a trade or something like that, just send it to the cold wallet. When should we use these hot wallets and cold wallets?
The question of when to use cold wallet and hot wallet really depends on the individual. So if you're a person and you have about $300, let's say in crypto, right? And you decide, okay, I want to put my whole $300 in my cold wallet. If you're a person who wants to invest in crypto, that might not necessarily be the best idea. And once again, it's not financial advice. The reason I said that is you always want to keep some crypto on standby. Either you keep it in USDT or you keep it at like Bitcoin, but you always want to keep some crypto in standby. And putting it inside a cold wallet, putting all your holdings in a cold wallet, especially when you don't have a lot, is almost like it removes the convenience of you being able to take advantage of sharp price movements or news that comes out, you know? So that actually does that is the reason why a lot of people might not opt to keep their money in cold wallets. And especially like if you have a little bit of crypto, sometimes you spend as much to buy the wallet itself. So some people are like, you know, I only have a few $100. I'm not going to spend a significant percentage of this to buy a wallet just so I can hold like $50 or $100 on it, you know? So they'll be more inclined to keep it on an exchange or a hot wallet. Well, with hot wallets, as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of risk with that. But I always tell people, when you build up a certain nest egg, you probably might know when you get this number, you might hit a number where it's like, oh man, I don't even want to invest this no more. I want to safeguard it. That's, in my opinion, when you put it on a cold wallet. And everyone's number is going to probably be different.
Do you have any examples of possible hot and cold wallets? I mean, things that you've personally used.
Well, mainly for hot wallets, I usually use either like Binance. I will use, as far as non-custodial, I'd use like MetaMask. Those are some of the ones I tend to use a lot. Whereas I have a Ledger wallet. That's something that, you know, that's the one with, yeah, I have a Ledger wallet. That's a pretty good one. You have other ones out there like Trezor. You have some good wallets out there.
So, no, we understand that it's really important to understand when to actually use your hot wallet versus your cold wallet. Could you take us through what kind of red flags should one be looking out for when choosing a wallet? You know, a lot of... No, continue.
Sorry. Repeat the question. We added it out.
So what kind of red flags should one be looking for when choosing a wallet?
All right. So you want to use a wallet that has like good reputation, and you have a lot of people who will say, all right, use this wallet. I guess you could say this with all aspects of crypto. Be careful where you click. Like, you might see a website that says, okay, sign up for this wallet. That might be a whole scam site, and they're just trying to get your information. But one thing I like to say is, whenever you're picking a wallet, especially for beginners, always look at information about the wallet. Are they regulated? No, do they have a visible team? Like, are they reputable? You know, if you're talking about like Trust Wallet or MetaMask or something, like, okay, these are some of the big crypto wallets out there where you probably could put more trust in. But if you're talking about Juk Wallet, you know, some wallet, when I was like no real reputation or anything, you know, you're only talking to bots. There's nothing, they don't even want to provide you with a seed phrase, stuff like that. You know, they are holding your private keys, not letting you know like what your private keys are. Those are the things to watch out for.
Like sketchy names and things like that.
Yeah.
It called CryptoNoobz wallet, but CryptoNoobz spelled with a K.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah,
Yeah. Stuff like
that's
look for open source codes, excessive permissions, all type of stuff. Poor reputation, bad reviews, or no reviews. No reviews is actually a red flag these days. Then you have trust me, you have impersonation apps, you have all type of stuff will actually
and I think that those are really good things to look out for. Especially because a lot of companies within the crypto space, they are big on transparency because they understand what their audience is looking for. We love transparency. We love decentralization. We don't really like it when things are so much hidden. So I definitely could add to that and say, just that transparency element, like when they actually are telling you when updates are happening or
yeah,
if there are any certain things that you should be, concerned about. I like that.
definitely.
So that brings me to my next question. So what are some mistakes that you think that people make, that beginners make when they start using wallets? What are some of the common mistakes that they usually make that you see?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of common mistakes. As I mentioned earlier, be careful where you click. Be careful where you click. You have a lot of phishing links. You have a lot of scam wallets out there. And they're going to make their wallet look almost just like Binance. If you think you're using Binance, and especially for someone who isn't like that versed, they definitely find themselves downloading some sketchy apps, sending money in crypto to certain addresses. So yeah, be careful with that. Another thing what a lot of people don't do, I'm trying to remember if that was my first mistake. I don't think a lot of people actually save their seed phrase. I don't know how much people actually save their seed phrase. That's going to be like for those of you who don't know, whenever you create like a wallet, like a non-custodial wallet, they're going to give you a phrase. It's going to be about 12, 16, 24 words, something like that. And you have to write them back in the correct order to get your wallet back, access to your wallet back, right? And a lot of people will not effectively save their seed phrase. And like, let's say if their computer is destroyed or if they lost their phone or something, they may lose access to those funds, So number one, I would say people probably do is don't back up seed phrases. Number two, I would say, well, it's number three really. Another thing what people tend to do is they use hot wallets for like large amounts of money. And once again, that number will be mentioned where it's like, okay, this is the number I want to safeguard. Some people will just keep that number on an exchange. Some people will keep that number in a volatile crypto. I don't know why. Like if that's the number you're looking for, I'd say get that in USDT or Bitcoin and put that on a hardware or cold wallet immediately and safeguard that. Yeah, that's another thing what people do. Like we said, using the shady wallets, ignoring security features, stuff like that, all that.
So what you're telling us is that like you've also like made your mistakes with wallets. I actually
Nothing really comes to mind, but like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I saved my first wallet. I can't remember, but I think I might have saved my seed phrase, but I didn't even know what a seed phrase really was. I didn't know why it was important, but they just said, hey, write this down, store it somewhere or whatever. And I might have did it, but I didn't even know what I was doing it for. But
I
yeah,
know
but that,
I know someone that told me, so what they did with their seed phrases is they actually wrote down their seed phrase. And at least one of the things that I understand with the community is that they go the extra mile for protection. This person said that they wrote down their seed phrases and they gave half of their seed phrases to one friend and another half to the next friend. These are two close friends of theirs who they don't, and these friends don't know each other. So if they were to ever lose, if they were to ever, for whatever reason, be unable to access their wallet, they would just go to both friends and get the words from each friend and then combine it. And then the only thing going through my mind,
what if something happened to one of the friends?
Yeah, what if that, like, what if something happened to one of the friends? The next thing that goes through my mind is if the friends mistakenly meet each other.
Yeah. So, a friend of mine, he gave me half a seed phrase. Oh, really?
My friend also gave me half their seed phrase. It's the
That's
same
actually
person.
that's actually a pretty interesting method. No, that reminds me of like when you have certain companies and they're like, okay, if you have two top higher ups in a company or government, they aren't supposed to travel together and all that because they'll be, for example, you're not supposed to have the president and vice president traveling in the same car because if something happens, that's the president and the vice president getting taken out. Like, so it's like, all right, what if something happens to one of the friends? I mean, hopefully, he has a way to start a different manner, but that's actually a pretty interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
really interesting.
another thing that I'd like to ask your opinion on as well. So we see how wallets, especially the hot wallets, right? This is coming from more of a tech standpoint. These wallets now could connect to websites, almost similar to how when you go on a website and it asks for your email or your Gmail, and you just put in about a few clicks and boom, you have access to the website, and now they could send you emails or what's not. I realize that some of the wallets, the crypto wallets now, they can interact with the site, allowing you to be able to just add your wallet to the site instead of a Gmail or an email. Like, how do you think wallets are going to evolve as crypto becomes more mainstream?
This is a bold prediction I have. I think in the near future, I think almost every phone is going to come with a crypto wallet. I think almost every phone. I think a lot of social media will have crypto wallets. I could definitely see that. I don't know like how the logistics will play out, but it's almost like when like you have certain creators on certain platforms and they'll have let's say like a TikTok creator front, they'll have a balance of their cash in that they made in TikTok from views and stuff like that, right? I think you will start to see certain social media introduce probably a crypto base fund or wallet. I can definitely see that in the future. For phones, I could definitely see for phones there, like every time you buy a phone, you have a crypto wallet attached or some sort of like built-in crypto wallet. Nothing necessarily have to download. It'll just be like either like an installed app or some sort of address that's particular to that phone. I think that's something that can be, I don't want to say, I mean, obviously I'm not no Steve Jobs here, so I don't know how they're gonna pull it off, but
Apple Wallet and Samsung Wallet.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. I mean, they put a man on the moon. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to do that. Or they allegedly put a man on the moon. Allegedly, I wasn't there to confirm that they is there, but yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Oh, that is incredible, and I could see that happening as well. I forgot the name of the actual social media, but I remember that there is a decentralized social media. And I do think, well, there are several decentralized social medias now. And I could see that, especially like, even when we think about Twitter and Doge and things like that, we see,
Yeah.
definitely. Not Twitter.
I think, yeah, Twitter, X, whatever they want to call it. I think X, yeah, I believe X is probably going to be one of the first social media websites to introduce like a built-in cryptocurrency wallet. I am a firm believer in that. I could definitely be wrong, but I believe that X is probably going to be one of the front runners as far as introducing established social media with decentralized technology and allowing people to have crypto wallets to transfer back and forth.
But once again, the particular social media that I'm thinking of, I can't remember it to save my life, but basically with the social media, what you'll be able to do is, so you could actually have your storefront. You see like how TikTok has like TikTok shop and all this good stuff, right? So imagine like the storefront is built into your social media, into your feed, like into your actual, someone goes to your profile, and as soon as they go to your profile, They can already see like your digital products and your consultations and all that good stuff, and they could actually pay you directly to your wallet.
Directly.
That's already that the wallet is already installed in the social media, and they could actually pay you directly through crypto for whatever they want, and they can get it right there off the site. And it doesn't need to be no link to another site or payment platform or something like that, like how we're used to. Or everything is happening on the social media in real time. And I think like I think that it's so interesting that you said that, because it's like I could see where that's gonna happen. And Twitter, Elon already trying to go back to the moon. Elon is trying to go to Mars, so that would be small for him.
He's still trying to go to Mars, or
yeah, man. Yeah, SpaceX.
I'll go up to Mars in a minute. Yeah.
SpaceX. He trying to build Doge. Sticking real close to Trump. This is not fine.
I know them Billis with a piece of wing on the White House.
Yeah. I think the name was Doge.
Department of Governance Efficiency.
Of governance efficiency. And I mean, like, he found a way to insert Doge in the name.
This is one big cartoon. Like, this whole politics thing, like, is geopolitical right now. It means one big cartoon.
No financial advice.
That's Porn Dogs. This is the episode of the Porn Dogs.
I think Doge should definitely go with. I think Doge should definitely go without no financial advice. Doge and
Doge is secondary currency. And what is so interesting about Doge, right? I love the fact that, like, when people would say, like, if Dogecoin is a scam, I tell them Dogecoin is not a scam. Dogecoin never pretended to be anything useful. Never did it pretend to be anything of value. Dogecoin was literally meant as a joke. The people who created it admitted it. Everyone was like, this coin has no intrinsic value. This is just a meme. Or you see a bunch of rich people start talking about it, and all of a sudden everybody just buy it up. Like, it has no utility. No utility, none. And it's really interesting because, like, I'm a guy been in school for finance. Dogecoin literally goes against everything they've taught me in school. Like, it goes against every investing book.
And I think that's the thing. You might say that this might be a bit wild, right? But the whole point of crypto is to challenge the way that we look at finance. Like, that's the whole idea. And yes, I think what we're seeing, especially like with meme coins and all that good stuff, meme coins literally spit in the face of everything finance. Cryptocurrency low-key spits in the face of everything banking and finance. So it's understanding and accepting that that's part of what it is. Now, I do think that eventually things will become more evened out, more structured, more regulation will come. But it's the understanding that, hey, this was always the point. The point was always to challenge what the system that we have currently going on. So back to the wallet conversation, I do have another question here. And what I'd want to know is, what are some of the security measures that you take personally to protect your wallet that you could encourage our beginners especially to, follow along with?
First of all, when you create your wallet, find a reputable wallet, right? I recommend, this is not a plug, we're not getting paid by them. I recommend like MetaMask or Trust Wallet, Phantom, something like that, right? Really well-established names. Now, first things first, when they say that seed phrase, do not just read it out to yourself and say, oh, I got this. No, I want you to write it down. Remember, right? Write it down in the exact order. And it'll be best if you save it on paper, but you're probably going to mash the paper up and throw it away. So find a way to save that online. Either send it to yourself by text, send it yourself by email. You know how they say, all right, don't save it online, but let's be real. If you write that down, you're gonna lose it. Let's be real. Let's be absolutely real here. You're gonna lose it. All right.
No
you're
bucks
gonna
or
throw
nothing.
it away with the rest of the receipts, which you have in your pocket. You're gonna throw it away right with those, right? So, especially if you're not dealing with a lot of money. Now, if you're talking about a significant amount of money, I would write that seed phrase down. The next question is, if it's a lot of money, you might want to look inside of like a ledger, like a hardware wallet, and you want to save that seed phrase. Remember, that seed phrase is important. Always remember that. The seed phrase is important, right? You want a good password. Nelson, would you agree that your seed phrase is kind of more important than your password?
I would say that my seed phrase is more important than my password. I can always recover the password. The seed phrase is a different story.
Exactly. You can't just go there and say, hey, I lost my seed phrase. Can you give me access to this 100,000 Bitcoin? No, it doesn't work like that. You could go and say, hey, I lost my password. Yeah. But you need that seed phrase. Next, I would say, be careful making transactions on certain sites. Like when you're buying crypto, giving your wallet information, you're buying your information on certain websites. You got to be careful of that. And if you're dealing with a large sum of money, as I mentioned before, keep it on a hardware wallet. If you're not actively trading and you have a large sum of money, keep it on a hardware wallet. Go to the bank, open up a safety deposit box, and you probably can keep it there. And check your wallets. A lot of people, they don't do that. At the time, so I found some significant money sitting in a wallet that I totally forgot about. If that happens, check all your permissions on these apps. These are like just some of the stuff. It seems like a lot, but when you're dealing with certain apps and a significant amount of money, these are things you have to do. Like I remember there was a story about a guy who, and once again, it's back to the seed phrase thing. I cannot emphasize enough how much you need to save that seed phrase.
Very important.
There was this guy. He had about 7,000 Bitcoin, right? I think it was about 7,000 Bitcoins. And let me do a search right quick, right? Okay, one Bitcoin right now is going for 105,000. Okay, what is this? That's $736 million right now, right? So this guy had a wallet. I think it was about 7,000 Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken, right? He apparently lost the seed phrase for the wallet. So he have this ledger wallet, doesn't have the seed phrase for it. I think he input the password several times or phrase several times and it was incorrect, right? So they said that if he input, I think 2 more times or something, it's going to be locked forever. Yeah, it's going to be locked forever. Last time I heard about it, a crypto recovery firm reached out to him. It's like a group of hackers and all that. They reach out to him and say they'll be able to solve it. But I don't think he ever took them up on the offer. I don't know if I would either, because how can I be sure you guys know what you're doing?
At this point,
like insane that is. You have thousands of dollars. No, I'm talking about thousands. You have thousands of Bitcoin. I'm saying thousands of dollars. You have thousands of Bitcoin, right? Sitting there, and you don't have your seed phrase, and that's why you gotta access it. That's insane.
I'd cry real tears.
Yeah.
I would cry real tears.
Yeah, so for anyone who's starting out, focus on your seed phrase and focus on getting a good, strong password. Everyone has the password scheme they like to use. You could use that password, right? But like I emphasize, just a seed phrase. And be careful where you're sending funds and receiving funds from, and be careful where you click. Every time you go to, let's say you go to copy your address, if you're buying crypto, let's say from Binance and you're sending it to your wallet, ensure that's the right address. Look at that. You could do what me and Nelson mentioned on our earlier podcast. Send a small amount of money. If you plan to send $2,000, send $20 first. Make sure that hit that address. Then you go ahead and you can send the rest of that. That $1,980. You can send the rest of that. My math is mathing today.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. I would say whenever you're dealing with wallets, especially like when you're dealing with transfers and all that, early in your stage, make sure you're not copying the right address. Make sure you're not clicking any fishy links, stuff like that. Because sometimes when you connect your wallet to some of these websites, you're giving these people access to your wallet. So you got to be careful,
That's a really good advice, man. Yeah. So finally, my last question for the night would be, what advice would you give to a beginner who has never touched a wallet, is still very much new to crypto, and they would like to start their crypto journey tonight, right? What advice would you give them in choosing a wallet, just getting started?
Well, you can go to YouTube, or you could continue to follow CryptoNoobz, EDU on Instagram, CryptoNoobz on YouTube, and we'll provide you with updates and information on how to get started with your wallet, how to set up a wallet, all of that. Yeah. All right. So I would say look into just like watch YouTube videos. Look into the type of wallets, always search like, let's say, top 3 best wallets, and look at wallets where you could find a lot of resources and videos on how to work those wallets. You don't want to get a wallet from Cambodia with only 10 people in the world using, and the only video explaining it is in Cambodian, and you speak it. You want to get a wallet where there's a whole wealth of information and knowledge base around that. So we want to get like Ledger, Trezor, stuff like that, where you can find 100 videos explaining the same thing. Yeah, that's my piece of advice.
Well, once again, thank you for another great interview. And I hope that everyone would have learned more about wallets and how to actually use and interact with it. I encourage everyone to actually go out, get a wallet, just start with it. You can start with hot wallets. They are completely free, and just interact with it. Just start some sort of wallets. We listed a ton of wallets throughout this podcast. Just get started. Crypto Lambo, once again, thank you for another great podcast. And for everyone, just remember to follow CryptoNoobz and CryptoNoobz EDU on our various social media platforms for even more updates and insights and videos like this, where we break down cryptocurrency and the technology around cryptocurrency. All right, so you guys have a great day, and peace.